This is a lesson on viewing your worksheet, especially when your worksheet gets to be rather large. You're able to control what it is you see and how you see it in various ways. The first lesson is about freezing panes. Now, here I've got a spreadsheet that's both long and wide, and as I scroll down, I lose the titles at the top, so I don't know what I'm looking at. And also, as I scroll to the right, I lose the labels on the left hand side, so again I don't know what I'm looking at, so I'm lost in both directions here. And rather than zoom out to a ridiculous amount where I can't see anything at all, I'm going to freeze things. So when you're wanting to freeze a row, so in other words, I want to always see row 4, you need to select the row below it. So I'm going to select row 5 by clicking on the number 5, then I'm going to go to freeze and panes. So now as I scroll down, row 4 is locked in, so I always see row 4. Now when I want to undo that, I unfreeze the pane. If I wanted to freeze the first column, I need to select the column to the right. So it's either the row below or the column to the right. And then I'm going to go freeze and freeze panes. So now as I scroll sideways, I will always see row A. Now, in this particular case, as I mentioned, I want to be able to freeze A and 4. I want to freeze both of them. You need to do that in one step. So I'm going to unfreeze. And the one step goes this way. Again, I said it's got to be the row below and the column to the right. So the row below 4 is 5, and the column to the right of A is B. So logically, it has to be B5. So by simply selecting this cell, I'm going to freeze what's above it and what's to the left of it. So now when I say freeze panes, I'm getting a double freeze. And this allows me to work in this sheet very nicely because 4 stays there, and as I scroll over, A stays there. You're going to want to remember this lesson because sooner or later you're going to end up with a really big worksheet and you don't want to lose things as you're scrolling over. It's a very popular feature. I'm going to unfreeze now and show you something very similar to freeze, and it's called split. And split, again, when you're working with something very large, you can split this in two. So I'm going to select, let's say, row 28, and I'm going to say split right there. And now this allows me to scroll in two different areas. So unlike freeze, I'm not stuck with seeing only the top. I'm actually able to scroll to the bottom if I wanted to, or I can leave that at the top while I scroll to the bottom here. So it allows you a little bit more flexibility than freeze. You'll have to determine whether you need the split or whether you need the freeze. Oftentimes freeze is enough, but if you find yourself working, going back and forth in 2 or more areas, you can do that. You can also split 4 ways. I'm just going to click and it undoes the split. If I split here, I believe it's going to split 4 directions. So now I've got 4 windows. So when you're dealing with a really big sheet, I've got 4 different areas where I can work here, and that allows me to change vertical and horizontal in any sheet. So you'd have to be working with something rather large in order to need that. Next is you may only want here to deal with the totals and the days. Okay, splitting or freezing may not be the best option there. The best option might be to just not delete this stuff, but to hide it. So I'm going to say let's hide all of these columns for now because I don't need them. So I right click and I go hide. So now this is leaving me with something that looks like a summary of what I've got. Management likes summaries, not so much detail. So if you wanted management to see a summary of your employees and their totals and how much they got paid, etc., this would work better for them. Now whenever you want to remove that hide, your best bet, or this is how you do it. You select the column to the left and the one that ends up on the right, okay, and then you unhide. That's the only way that you'll be able to unhide that. Otherwise, if you only select A or you only select AF, you're going to have to unhide one at a time. Trust me, that can get old in a hurry. So select both sides. Select the one at the left and one on the right and hit unhide, and you'll unhide that. So those are some of the features available to you, allowing you to work within a really big worksheet.